Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today we're going to be unboxing and checking out the TCL Q6. If at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same TV, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. But this Q6 has some really cool features on it. And this 55-inch that I'm unboxing right here is only $499. That is a very good price. All right, so what do you get? Well, this is the little brother to the TCL Q7, and the TCL Q7 is actually my favorite current budget mid-range TV. Now, this one takes away some features. It doesn't have local dimming. It's natively only 60 Hertz, but this uses resolution halving at a 1440p and 1080p resolution to give you 120 Hertz. I use that same kind of technology on the Vizio. They gave you 240 Hertz, and I was very impressed with that. So this should be legitimately like a 120 Hertz experience. That is awesome. All right, let's check out what's in the box. Firstly, we have the stands right here, which feel plastic almost, but they look metal. All right, so taking these stands out, I think they're plastic. Yeah, so these are just a hard plastic, but they do look kind of metally. However, you kind of expect that at this price point. Again, only 500 bucks without being on sale. Hopefully they'll be going on sale this Black Friday. That's only like next week. So here are the stands. They feel strong, but like plastic. Then in here, we've got your remote, power, batteries for the remote, and then it looks like some cable management and some screws for the stand. Let's get this open and let's check out that remote. So this remote actually looks identical, I think, to the TCL Q7, and it is. This is the exact same remote as my Q7 that I have, and I'm actually keeping for a personal TV, as well as, well, we obviously reviewed it, but it's now my personal TV because I love it so much. So yeah, looks like the same remote. It has this metal look. It feels really high quality. I've been using this a bunch, so you have all of your buttons there. All of the buttons are rubberized and they feel great. And overall, I think it's just a very attractive looking and feeling one. However, one feature that I want to check out is the Q7's remote actually lit up whenever you picked it up. So in the dark, you could see it really well. All the buttons were backlit, and that was a very premium feature. I want to see if this one has it for the Q6. All right, so let's get these in here. All right, so I don't think this one has the lights, but it is overall the same remote. Let me get the Q7's remote. All right, so in my right hand is my Q7's remote. In the left hand is the Q6, and you can see absolutely identical. This one might be a little bit more worn or dirty, but yeah, exactly the same remotes. But we can see something if we come down here. We'll come down to the floor where it's a little bit dim, and you can see here, this one's not lighting up, but when you're holding it, it lights up. See all those buttons, how they're glowing? So that's the only difference there. A nice premium touch that they give you on the more expensive Q7. And well, that's pretty much the only difference. So a very nice remote for this price point. That's enough talk. Let's get to the panel itself. Lifting this off, and the panel should be right there. And there we go. I'm just gonna pull this away. Well, that falls away very dramatically. Immediately I notice this is a very thin panel. If you come over here, you can see we have metal around the edges. It's not that super nice brushed metal, but this is metal. Or maybe it's not, maybe it's plastic. I guess it is plastic because this whole piece is one piece. It feels very high quality though. All right, a very attractive looking TV. I'm actually pretty impressed, but I'm gonna take this out now. Ooh, not too bad as far as heftiness. It's actually fairly light. All right, now with those out of the way, we're gonna put the stand on. You guys know my method if you watch my videos. You just get two pillows, lift up this end, put them under, and then we're gonna grab our stands again. This is how they sound. So they're definitely plastic. So it looks like there's actually two areas where you can mount it further closer together if you have a smaller TV stand, or wider apart. We're gonna do the wider apart. I think that'll look better. We're gonna grab our screw bag with our integrated cable management. Is that cable management? Are you supposed to stick it on the back like that? That's interesting. We're gonna line these up and they kind of lock into place and then screw them in. These really do seem like overly long screws, but safety, I guess. And the other side. All right, and there we go. And we can also see the speakers down here. Those are the speaker grills. You can kind of see the speakers in there and another one on the other side. But with that, let's get this on there. Let's peel the plastic off, see how this thing does. All right, putting the TCL Q6 on the TV stand. It's a very attractive looking stand. These definitely look metal, even though they're not a big deal at all. These definitely look metal. All right, but not metal. Those, not metal, but they look like it. Let's peel this off. And that is all the plastic, a very attractive looking stand. This, I think this is metal. I think this is real metal down here. Just along the bottom, we have the Google TV kind of area right down there. Very attractive. Let's get it turned on. We have power on this side, and then if you come over here, I can show you the ports. An interesting way of doing it, they are super deep in here, so it's very far into the back. A lot of TV ports will be here. These are all the way back. The power is the same thing just on this side. So is that only 3 HDMIs there? That's very interesting. We've got our cable, looks like a 3.5 millimeter. I believe that's a optical audio out. We've got our Ethernet and USBs, but if I'm wrong about those, it's because I can't see. With it plugged in now, let's turn this thing on. All right, now we're gonna go through the setup process. Already we can see, I believe this is a VA panel, so the black levels are decent, but they're not amazing, and it doesn't have that local dimming, so it's not going to be amazing. But that's where you're gonna get the Q7 if you do want those features, as well as natively 120 Hertz, but this will give you 120 Hertz at 1440p. So let's go through the setup process. This is Google TV, so you do it mostly on your phone. If you wanna see the whole setup process, just watch my Q7 video because, well, it's fairly straightforward. You get the app on your phone if you have Google, and then you just go through the setup. All right, guys, and everything's updated. It was very easy to do it through the app, but now let's get in and, well, check out Google TV. We've seen it a million times before, but this is what I believe to be the best OS system. We can see a little bit of lag right there. First boot up though, after that though, not quite as smooth as the Q7, but once it's booted up, I mean, it looks like we're going through things pretty quickly. Not much lag at all. So yeah, pretty impressed. But at this point, I do expect that from TCL. They've been doing a great job. But let's jump in and see what this thing looks like. Let's do some YouTube. All right, guys, I will say when navigating to this video on YouTube, it is a little bit more laggy than the Q7. Again, not an in-depth. I'm not gonna stand by that statement because this is just an unboxing. The full review will be coming in a few days. Subscribe below for that. But the picture here, firstly, this is a VA panel, so it does wash out when you get to the side. So the best angle is gonna be right here in the center. But with that, it's nice and vibrant. Let's go into the settings, make sure the brightness is all the way up. But that's a very nice picture. Again, a VA panel, so the viewing angles aren't gonna be great. Brightness is all the way up there. Saturation is at half. We're gonna leave most of that stuff like that. Picture mode, we're gonna take it out of low power though, and we're gonna put it into vivid. And yeah, I mean, so we can see these bright areas right there, very, very bright. They look like a little bit too bright, but much better than the Sony X85K that we just had that didn't really do great in those very bright sections of the screen. But yeah, a very pretty TV. This is a fairly bright room that we're in right now, and I'm getting 0 reflections from my current standing position. So that's very good. It's very impressive. Colors look good. Accuracy, just because I've seen this same video many times, the accuracy does look like it's a little bit off just visually, but again, that's not the full in-depth test. We will do that later on in the full review. But initially, for the price of this TV, plus being able to get 120 Hertz at 1440p, that's very good. Let's do a little bit of a speaker test, and then we're gonna test out that 1440p, 120 Hertz using resolution halving. That's cool. So let's test out the speakers. We're gonna use Google Assistant to get us there. NCS. All right, so I had to do that a few times because it just lagged a little bit, whereas the Q7 did not do that. So obviously the processor inside here is smaller, so you're gonna get a little bit more lag. It's not gonna be quite as smooth. But let's test out this sound. We're at 25% volume. A little bit muffled, pretty much exactly what I expected. Let's fast forward a little bit. Yeah, absolutely no bass at all. There's 0 bass. We're gonna turn it all the way up. Actually, it gets very loud. Interestingly enough, I am pretty certain that that gets louder than the Q7. So I don't know, maybe they think if you're getting a big TV, you're definitely gonna get a speaker system, but that sounds very loud. I don't know if that's just me, but very loud, a little bit muffled, no bass, not great overall, but pretty standard for integrated speakers. But let's hop on the PS5 and see how this thing games. All right, let's see if this will come on automatically. Just turning on the PS5. PS5 is on, and you can see PlayStation 5 connected, but it looks like it does not oh, nope, there it does. I didn't touch anything, and we're going over. Currently, we're at 4K, 60 Hertz. We're gonna set this to a 1440p resolution, 1440p at 120 Hertz, so that is using that resolution halving now, so all of that is cool. You can see 120 Hertz SDR and HDR supported, same with 60 Hertz obviously. So let's get in, let's do some gaming. All right guys, jumping right in game. So we're using a 1440p resolution, 120 Hertz with resolution halving. And I can tell you right away, I can see the 120 Hertz, it looks great. It's gonna look very similar to a native 120 Hertz panel, that fluidness. Obviously we're at 1440p, so not quite as crisp as 4K, but from this viewing distance, it looks great. The input lag is fantastic here. Obviously, when you're at that 120 Hertz, you are gonna get a better input lag, a lower input lag than when compared to just doing 60 Hertz at 4K. But again, you can still do 60 Hertz at 4K, and this makes this a really, really attractive buy. I mean, 500 bucks, this is a pretty awesome experience right away. Not as bright as the Q7, and the black levels, I can tell you right away, aren't as good, but the overall experience is very, very good. We're getting 120 hertz. We're actually getting higher frames as well because we're only doing a 1440p resolution. So in many cases, you're actually gonna wanna use a 1440p resolution just because the consoles are, while they're powerful, a lot of times they still will not do full frames at full 4K resolution. But yeah, a very pretty experience for sure. Now, the colors here aren't as vibrant. It also looks like it's not quite as accurate. But again, this is just visually, this is not with tests yet. But a pretty panel, not a stunning panel like the Q7 is. For the price, that is an absolutely insanely beautiful panel. But yeah, really impressed with the input lag here. A very enjoyable gaming experience. And you can see, I mean, well, you can't see, but with motion, it's very smooth, just like a native 120 hertz panel. So this is a very good value proposition. All right, guys, now with this being a VA panel, one thing that I noticed when I'm getting into this dark area is if we're gonna go around like this, we can start to see color separation and ghosting, right? So there definitely is ghosting. Looks like more than the Q7 just from a visual perspective. And we can also see if we focus right here, if you look at these, the colors will start separating. So that's also red and green ghosting. It could be overshoot without testing. You know, I can't tell you that. That will again be in the full review, but there's definitely more ghosting. Not at all a deal breaker, I would say, but still not as good as like the Sony X85K and I think the Q7. But again, I'll have to go in and do the tests here. But yeah, overall, this is only really in a dark area. So we can see if I go out to like a brighter area over here, we can see we just don't get the same thing. It looks much clearer. So the ghosting is really only, which is very common for VA panels, it's really only gonna be noticeable in here, where you're seeing a lot of color separation, especially on those signs over there, a lot of color separation there, or what I call red and green ghosting. Other people call it red and green ghosting as well. But again, when you get out here, it's just very smooth when you get into these brighter areas, whereas indoors, you're gonna get more ghosting. Not a big deal, not a deal breaker, especially at this price point, still very good, but yeah, something to know. But guys, overall, I am as impressed as I thought I was gonna be with the Q6. While the Q7 is for sure a better TV, the Q6 is a very good price point. This 55-inch is only $499.99. Again, if you want to check it out, there's Amazon links below, but the full review will be coming in just a few days, where I'm gonna go through all the tests, give you my overall opinion, and if I think you should buy it. But this was Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.